I'm the answer. You can get me on the old X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Mark Davis, at MARK Davis. So with some stuff going on the phones, multiple issues at 833-33-GORKA, 833-334-6752. Back to you guys in a second. I want to take an opportunity to chat with one of the best guys you can talk to on immigration issues. He is, in fact, a fellow at the Center for Immigration Studies, author of Overrun a couple of years ago. Wonderful, wonderful book. I think the subtitle was How Biden Unleashed the Greatest Border Crisis in U.S. History. He is a man of sparse words when it comes down to getting to the heart of the matter. Todd Bensman's here. Todd, welcome back. How you doing, sir?
Great to be here. Thank you.
I want to do a lot of overview stuff on what amnesty even means and what we ought to do about certain types of student visas and blah, blah, blah. But very, very recent, just in the pipeline, a New York Post piece that you have written, and I just love the headline here too, Why Biden's Gaza Refugee Plan is a Hard Hell No. I guess as opposed to the soft hell no. It's a double. So where does this idea even come from? Even if somebody is really sympathetic, empathetic to the plight of the Palestinians and what's going on in Gaza, and they don't like Israel, in what universe is bringing refugees from this patch of land, bringing them to America, in what universe is that a good idea?
I mean, I think the Biden campaign, not the administration, is worried about losing the progressive left that they need so badly to beat Donald Trump. They have to have that progressive left that's pissed off at him right now because of his stance on the war in Israel, the war on Gaza, retaliatory war on Gaza. So it seems to be a serious proposal. I mean, I suspect maybe they were kind of floating it as a test balloon, but it's absolutely insane to think about bringing thousands of Gazans in here. Because as I point out in the piece at length, the population of Gaza is unique in the world in that it has been subject to intense ideological indoctrination by Hamas at every level of civil society for decades. And even before Hamas was in there, it was the Palestinian Authority, and they were doing it too. And I mean, cradle to grave, teaching them to hate, to tolerate suicide bombing. Actually, the whole value system is that martyrdom operations, suicide bombing is the highest possible order of valor in that society. Bringing kids to these crazy summer camps where they're teaching them how to shoot guns and kill, to hate Jews, to regard Jews and Christians as subhuman, throughout the entire school system. Again, cradle to grave, the imams, the social services infrastructure, the government, everything is geared to imbuing in this population these ideas of radical Islamist murder. So the population is like a petri dish of terrorism. You're taking a big risk if you bring a bunch of Gazan refugees in here. There's no way you're going to be able to vet them for security. They hate Americans. They hate America. They hate Christians ad nauseum. And all the polling, there's a lot of polling of the Gazan population. I'm not just this out of nothing. It's a real thing.
Isn't there, proving that no good deed goes unpunished, didn't Israel attempt something? It may or may not be that similar. Tell me the difference between what Biden's floating and what Israel did, I guess, out of the goodness of their heart. I mean, there are Palestinians in the Israeli parliament, in the Knesset. Didn't Israel at some point recently say, look, all right, we're going to welcome some folks from Israel pulled out of Gaza in 2005, I want to say. And didn't they recently say, let's welcome some folks over? We got labor shortages too. That's always about the labor shortages. Didn't Israel try something like that, and how did it work out?
Well, yeah, they took a chance. I mean, there were good people in southern Israel, not far from the Strip, and they sponsored work permits for thousands of Gazans to come and work and get very precious hard cash to bring back into the Strip. And the reporting so far is that at least some of them, certainly not all of them, but some of them are suspected of having provided tactical intelligence to the Hamas terrorists who conducted October 7, that they were able to get the specific layout of these towns and who was living in which house and all of that sort of thing from these workers. And furthermore, UNRWA, the United Nations agency that is responsible for providing a lot of the U.S. aid and the global aid to Palestinians, at least a dozen of them who are heavily vetted by the Israeli security establishment, turn out to have directly participated in the October 7 attacks. So even if you do some kind of vetting with Gazans and Palestinians, man, all bets are kind of off. I mean, it's not a settled science, as we say.
No, indeed. And this is not to be unkind, and this is not to be harsh. We lose track, and let's spend a couple of minutes on this, and we'll hit the bottom of the hour and come back and talk about some other things, America's southern border, et cetera, et cetera. We lose sight of the fact that immigration policy is not designed to find a haven for every suffering soul who might do better in America. It's designed to allow people in who will appreciate coming in. We love the contribution that legal immigration has made to our country, but it ultimately is for the betterment of the United States. Where did that crazy notion go?
Right. I mean, there are plenty of populations in the world that could use some help. That would, they're war refugees who are permanently unable to live in their homes, so they have nowhere else to go. So, we always provide havens for people like that. But what I suggest in the New York Post piece today is, don't turn a blind eye to suffering Gazans. Send the U.S. Mercy over there, the hospital ship. Send aid, send humanitarian, drop aid, send doctors, do what you can to facilitate their resettlement in safer regional neighboring countries like Jordan. You don't have to bring Gazans to the United States and for us to have to take that risk of a national security risk for sure, like the Israelis took that risk. But also just, we don't need to be bringing people in who are on record in mass in polling as hating our country.
And in final 60 seconds on this, and then we'll go to our southern border on the other segment. I don't want to paint with too broad a brush. There are Palestinians in Jordan who are not this radicalized. There's just something about the Gaza environment that creates schools starting as early as kindergarten meant to inculcate that kind of poisonous doctrine.
Right. I mean, their state-run TV has these like cartoon character children's shows that are all about teaching the kids how to murder Jews and hate Jews and work the AK-47. And I mean, it's literally from cradle to grave at every level, every institution, college, everything there is geared toward the struggle, jihad.
All right.
Against the Jews.
Let me pause for a second. The Twitter feed, the Twitter handle is Bensman Todd, Bensman, Todd Bensman, Center for Immigration Studies. Will continue in just a moment. Mark Davis in for Dr. Gorka on a Tuesday.